Oi! Where the bloody hell have you been?
Toilet.
Toilet? What do you mean, toilet? Ladles and jelly spoons, happy new year and welcome back to Kai Mathy's YouTube channel and our first retro roundup of 2025, where we dig through the last 40 years of gaming and pick out some of January's highlights. For those of you that are new here, I'm Kai, your guide through the pixelated past and polygons of yesteryear, and joining me as always are Pat Whitemuffin, who somehow managed to commentate extreme sports from a swivel chair. It were ergonomic. And Keith, our tea-drinking encyclopedia of, well, tea and badgers.
And proud of it. I mean, did you know that badgers can run up to 30 kilometres an hour? Yeah, well, now you do.
Terrifying. Let's dive in before Keith organises the Badger Olympics. So let's rewind to 1985. Nintendo drops Ice Climbers for the NES, a platforming classic where you bash your way up icy mountains. Fun fact, it's one of those games that made you hate your friends more than losing a life. Ice Climbers for the NES is a vertical platformer developed by Nintendo. Players control Popo and Nana in 2-player mode as they scale 32 icy mountains. Armed with mallets, they break through icy layers, fend off enemies like Tuppis, nitpickers and polar bears, and avoid hazards such as falling icicles and slippery platforms. At the summit, they chase a condor whilst collecting bonus items like vegetables. The game's floaty controls and tricky jump arcs made it both challenging and iconic. It features simultaneous 2-player gameplay, allowing for cooperation or competition. It was one of the first platformers to use vertical scrolling. Although Ice Climbers was a staple of the NES era, it's seen as a niche classic due to its difficulty. Its legacy lives on though through re-releases and Popo and Nana's inclusion in Super Smash Bros., cementing their place in Nintendo's history. Remember it, jumping mechanics felt like someone had glued bricks to your boots.
Speaking of glue, did you know that tea was once used as currency? Yeah, in Serbia.
Not sure how that's related, but good to know. And of course, Ye Are Kung Fu came out earlier in the same year, setting the stage for modern fighting games. You've got your punches, your kicks, and your ridiculous character names like Star or Butchu. It were revolutionary, plus fewer quarter circle motions to pull off than some newer games. Looking at you, Street Fighter. Ye Are Kung Fu by Konami is an early one-on-one fighting game that helped define the genre. Players control Oolong, a martial artist battling 11 unique opponents with distinct fighting styles and weapons, such as polearms and shurikens. Oolong uses a mix of punches, kicks and jumps, emphasising speed and agility over brute force. The game introduces dynamic combat mechanics and diverse roster of enemies, setting stage for future classics like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Its side view perspective became the standard for fighting games, and its blend of weapon-based and hand-to-hand combat added depth for its time. Ye Are Kung Fu was a commercial success and is remembered as a pioneering title, don't you know? It established key conventions of the fighting game genre, such as character variety and strategic combat, leaving a lasting impact on the industry. It is the first of 2025. I'm very pleased to announce that the arcade version of Ye Are Kung Fu appears in book 1001 Video Games You Must Play Before You Die by Tony Mott, the absolutely fantastic editor of Edge magazine.
Yes, Mr. B, you know what to do.
Yeah, but we know he won't. Fast forward to 1995, Skeleton Crew hits the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive and the Atari, a top-down shooter with grim vibes and weapons so weird they felt like they belonged in a Tim Burton sketchbook. The game were ambitious, shooting diagonally. Madness for the time. Skeleton Crew, a top-down shooter developed and published by Core Design for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive and Amiga. Set in 2062, players join the skeleton crew to stop Morbund Cadaver's plot for global domination. The game features 3 characters with unique abilities and weapons: Jax with dual wrist cannons, Lex with a high-powered laser gun, and CK with boomerang-style projectiles. The game is known for its fast-paced shooting, environmental destruction and distinct control system, allowing independent weapon rotation for precise aiming. Players navigate industrial cyberpunk-themed levels filled with enemies, traps and hazards. With detailed graphics and a gritty aesthetic, Skeleton Crew supported 2-player cooperative modes. Whilst it didn't achieve significant commercial success, the game is remembered for its challenging gameplay, unique mechanics and atmospheric setting, securing its place as a hidden gem in the 16-bit era. And then, Battle Arena Toshinden arrived on the PlayStation. It had full 3D movement and those wild weapon-based duels made you think, wow, 3D fighting is the future.
Back when 3D meant something exciting, not just a headache.
Battle Arena Toshinden, a weapon-based 3D fighting game developed by Tamsoft and released for the Sony PlayStation. It was the first game to showcase the console's graphical capabilities, with fully 3D arenas and character models. Players choose from a roster of 8 characters, each with distinct weapons and fighting styles, such as EJ Shinjo's swordsmanship or Sophia's whip-based combat. Game introduced sidestepping and full 3D movement, adding strategic depth to matches compared to 2D fighters like Street Fighter. The use of PlayStation's shoulder buttons for manoeuvring highlighted its innovation at the time. While Battle Arena Toshinden received earlier praise for its visuals and fast-paced combat, it was later criticised for its relatively shallow mechanics as the genre advanced. Still, it plays a key role in popularising 3D fighting games and influenced iconic series like Tekken and Soul Blade.
No problem!
Before we jump into the year 2000, let's pause for a moment. If you're enjoying this stroll, or should I say fight down memory lane, why not give this video a thumbs up? And if you don't, I might have to challenge you to a Battle Arena Toshinden duel. I'll be Sophia, whip in hand.
And I'll stand at the back offering a cup of tea to the winner.
Don't let Keith's tea go cold. Hit that subscribe button so you won't miss more retro goodness. Share this video with a chum who remembers the days when loading screens took up half your evening. And leave us a comment, tell us which Toshinden fighter was your go-to, or what's your favourite retro fighting game?
Or, drop your favourite tea fact. We're not fussy.
Well, we kind of are, but it's all engagement, isn't it? Right, let's get back to it. The year 2000 brought changes. ASC Games shut down, partially due to the delays with Werewolf the Apocalypse, Heart of Gaia. Meanwhile, Digital Illustration CE picked up Refraction Games and most of Synergix Interactive, shaping the industry for years to come. On the gaming front, we had Resident Evil Survivor for the PlayStation 1, the first light gun shooter in the Resident Evil series. More like Resident Evil walk and shoot, but make it clunky.
Biohazard Gun Survivor.
Resident Evil Survivor, a spin-off of the Resident Evil series for the PlayStation, blending first-person shooting with survival horror. Players control Ark Thompson, who wakes up with amnesia on a zombie-infested island, unravelling his identity whilst battling zombies, lickers and tyrants. The game introduced a first-person perspective, departing from the series' traditional third-person view. It features exploration, light gun shooting mechanics, although the light gun support was removed from North American release, and unlimited ammo for most weapons, emphasising action over resource management. A branching storyline offers multiple endings based on player choice. Whilst the game was ambitious, it received mixed to negative reviews due to the simplistic gameplay and lack of scares, as well as the dated visuals. Despite these flaws though, Resident Evil Survivor is remembered as an experimental step that paved the way for later first-person entries in the franchise, like Resident Evil 7.
What?
I'd have added tea zombies. I mean, imagine that. Bosses throwing tea bags.
Keith, I don't think you thought that sentence through, did you?
What? Oh, I love a bit of teabagging.
Then there was Mortal Kombat Special Forces, a game that tried to tell the backstory of Jax, but the gameplay was stiffer than the character's facial expressions. Mortal Kombat Special Forces, a PlayStation spin-off from the Mortal Kombat series. Shifting to a third-person action-adventure gameplay, this story focuses on Jax, a Special Forces operative, as he hunts for members of the Black Dragon, led by Kano. The game combines hand-to-hand combat and firearms with linear levels and basic objectives. It aims to expand Jax's backstory and his rivalry with Kano, but lacks depth in gameplay and design. Reception was overwhelmingly negative due to clunky controls, outdated graphics and repetitive combat. Critics and fans alike found the levels uninspiring and the overall experience underwhelming. Special Forces is often regarded as the weakest entry in the franchise. Its poor performance contributed to Midway avoiding further experimentation with action-adventure spin-offs, leaving it as a low point in Mortal Kombat's otherwise storied history. Oh, that being said, I mean, this game goes for a rotten mint at your local CEX, so if you see one in your local charity shop, be sure to pick her up. The year is now 2005, and over on the Xbox we had Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath. It was part first-person shooter and part action-adventure, with live ammo that screamed at you when you fired it. Oh, finally, a game where the bullets had better acting skills than most characters.
I got
Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath, an action-adventure game by Oddworld inhabitants. Released for the Xbox, players control the Stranger, a bounty hunter pursuing outlaws to fund a life-saving surgery. The game's unique blend of first-person combat and third-person exploration, allowing players to switch perspectives seamlessly. The standout feature is the use of live ammo, where weapons are powered by creatures like chipmunks or thunder slugs, adding a humour to the strategy. Players can capture enemies alive for a high reward or kill them for a quicker resolution. The game's open level design encourages exploration and the creative approach to missions. The story unfolds with a compelling twist about Stranger's true identity, deepening the narrative. Whilst critically acclaimed for its innovative gameplay and clever mechanics, as well as its engaging story, it struggled commercially due to limited marketing and a late release in the Xbox lifecycle. Despite this, it remains a cult classic and a standout in the Oddworld series. So, it should be no surprise that the Xbox version of Stranger's Wrath appears in book 1,000 More Video Games You Must Play Before You Die by Tony Mott, the absolutely fantastic editor of Edge magazine. Now Mr. B, you know what to do.
But he won't.
We also had Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction on the Xbox and PlayStation 2. Explosions, chaos, more explosions. A sandbox game that let you blow up everything except the disc that it came on. Pure catharsis. I mean, you don't play Mercenaries to be subtle.
Your primary objective is to get to the Allied HQ. Colonel Garrett is waiting for you.
Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction, an open-world action game developed by Pandemic Studios and published by LucasArts for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Set in a fictional war-torn North Korea, players assume the role of one of 3 mercenaries, working with 4 factions: the Allied nations, South Korea, China and the Russian Mafia, on missions that can be completed through stealth or chaotic destruction. The game features a bounty system tied to a deck of 52 with targets to capture or eliminate, destructible environments using airstrikes or explosives, and a variety of vehicles and weapons to enhance gameplay. Now, players must navigate shifting alliances whilst pursuing General Song, the central antagonist, destabilising region. Praised for its open-ended gameplay, engaging missions and destructible world, the game stood out as a cinematic and innovative open-world title, earning critical and commercial success and becoming a fan favourite in the genre.
South Korean forces in the area. Company man called Buford knows more about what's going on around here than, well, hell, he knows more than he's telling, that's all I'll say.
Jumping to 2015, we are stretching the retro definition a little bit, but we had Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, a game that let you wreak havoc in, well, hell. It was chaos, irreverent, and it somehow had karaoke. Karaoke? In hell? Well, sounds accurate.
Let's see what these things can do.
Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, a standalone expansion to Saints Row 4. Developed by Volition and High Voltage Software, set in hell, the game follows Johnny Gat and Kenzie Kensington as they attempt to rescue the boss's soul from Satan, who plans to marry them off to his daughter Jezebel. The game features an open world hell to explore, supernatural powers like flight and summoning imps, and hell-themed weapons such as Armchair-ageddon. That's a machine gun equipped armchair, by the way. Players can switch between Johnny and Kenzie or team up online in co-op mode. Mr. B, you know what to do.
But he won't.
Yes, whilst praised for its humour, creative weapons and unique setting, some critics felt the game's smaller scale and repetitive missions didn't match previous entries. But despite this, it retains the series' signature over-the-top charm, appealing to fans of the franchise's absurd and comic tone.
Murder. Pride is a sin the Devil's Army has in spades, so if you want to pick a fight, you can bet your ass they're coming in droves.
Finally, back in 2015, Life is Strange landed, giving us a heartfelt episodic adventure with time manipulation mechanics. It proved games could tell stories just as well as books or films. You know, and if you didn't tear up at least once, well, you probably didn't play it.
Never touch me again, freak!
Life is Strange, an episodic narrative adventure game by Don't Nod Entertainment and published by Square Enix. Players control Max Caulfield, a photography student who discovers the ability to rewind time, allowing her to reshape events and explore multiple outcomes. The story takes place in the small town of Arcadia Bay, where Max navigates themes of friendship, mental health and loss, all while uncovering dark secrets. Key features include time rewind mechanic, exploration of interactive environments and decisions that significantly affect relationships and the story's outcome. The game's emotionally driven storytelling and relatable characters create a deeply engaging experience. Praised for its gripping narrative, art style, voice acting and poignant soundtrack, Life is Strange received critical and commercial acclaim. It set a new standard for choice-based adventure games and remains a beloved title for its emotional depth and impactful storytelling, don't you know?
Good. Nobody can see my meltdown, except for me.
And that wraps up the first retro roundup for 2025. From Ice Climbers to Life is Strange, January has given us plenty to remember. Let us know in the comments down below what's your favourite retro game from these years.
Or, just share a tea fact. Did you know Brits drink over 100 million cups of tea a day? Or badger facts. They're faster than you think.
And they don't play Battle Arena Toshinden. Like, share and of course subscribe for more trips down gaming memory lane. Thanks for watching. Before we go, I'll leave you with this. If Hare Krishnas start to clone themselves, will they know? Cheerio, see you soon.